I shot the girl. She opened up her eyes and zapped us with lasers.
And charmed the tiefling.
Shoot no deputy.
Something like that. Yeah, we talked with Ellie down in the Undercity and got more information about who she is and how the Void works. And how most of us don't quite get it yet. Then we came upstairs and Groombar had guests at the gate, which were Elton's revolutionary militia that he's stirred into action. He went to them and they rescinded their citizenship of Dunmorok, which freed them from getting petrified. They ran back to the courtyard to join the rest of us after the keep collapsed as Groombar gave his pact to Andros and turned his arm to stone. And then old Madeline dropped in from the sky as Groombar collapsed, and we proceeded with diplomatic engagements of shooting an arrow into her.
As all good negotiations start.
Vengeance isn't the way. Get arrowed.
We can help you, shoots an arrow. I think Absinthosis is rubbing off on you. But no choice.
There's always a choice.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much summed it up. It was a pretty mixed fight in terms of you guys did a lot of damage.
Thamor went burr. I remember that.
Thamor went burr. I need to go back. I should have gone back and calculated the exact amount of damage. I think he probably dealt almost half the damage just by himself.
That sounds about right.
Between the reflection and like 4 or 5 attacks in a single turn.
I think I actually calculated his turn alone without the reflection was near 60.
Jeez.
Without the reflection?
Yeah, and then the reflection was another, 28 or 29 or something like that. So it's
Jeez.
Yeah. There's Thamor for you.
Thamor go burr.
Yep.
Out of combat, it's like, yeah, strength checks and such, that's kind of what warriors might be able to do. In combat, well, you just point them at something and say smash. But, yeah, so you immediately engage with her. Dealt a fairly serious blow before she dropped the guise that she was wearing, or the form she had taken on to appear to you all, and opened up a bit of a plane to the, or opened up a bit of a rift to a plane of sorts where she dragged you all in. So we're going to retcon it a little bit as far as, well, I don't want to say this.
The elk becomes the new BBEG. Go.
Everyone versus elk. Go.
Look at that
fight
elk
for its
stare.
amusement. No. More so as she twists you into this plane, and seemingly grows larger, drawing energy from just the mere presence of the void around her, revealing this crazy looking creature, this gigantic eye that seems to almost stare off into like 1,000-yard stare, just beaming with an almost otherworldly intellect, with stalks of eyes that seem to reflect that same notion, kind of flailing about, staring at everything and everyone in turn, along with the gnashing teeth that follow it. But upon pulling you into this plane and realizing that you managed to follow her here, this creature just lets out a shrill shriek as each of the eye stalks turns to you all in turn, and she just shouts, "No, You will know torment as I did. You will learn the truth of this all.
Oh no.
And as she says this, each of the eyes lets out a ray of purple light, just bathing the area around you. And it grows brighter and brighter before it turns a bright red. What?
Why does it see me? I'm invisible.
Okay.
The void.
I mean,
You cannot participate.
I guess not.
I mean, I'm trying to think how you would dodge her looking around. Mostly because the moment she points her eye anywhere in your direction, it will fall off. But... Okay. Here that works. Because she's not really aiming at anyone. She's actually just literally releasing light all around her. But... Huh. Okay, I mean, I'll play along with it, sure. You had your invisibility. Alton, you're the only one who really isn't immediately affected by this light, but as you see all of your companions, I mean, even you're slightly disoriented coming into this space. The beam of light, this purple beam, seems to flash over each one before turning a bright red, and they vanish.
Oh shit. My friends are all dead, I better go now.
Save for Absinthos, who is caught in a different beam of light.
Ooh.
And is being stared at intently by this thing. The rest of you...
Am I not
Andrus.
on the purple map? Oh, sorry. Am I not on the purple map? Should I delete myself?
Are you not on the what?
The purple map that we're looking at.
You are... So, I told you the map is going to be kind of pointless, because I have not actually designed maps for these. So, everyone's...
I guess I'm just asking where I am, though.
You are behind this creature as it is staring at... You're still in this realm with it. So the map you're looking at right now is where you are.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So you are one of the few left with Absinthos in this area, because she, I guess, I mean, straight up didn't see you, so she could not put an I-beam to hit you with this. But how long did your invisibility last?
I think greater invisibility is 1 minute. If I remember correctly.
Yep. 1 minute. I think we did like 2 rounds of combat. Or 3.
Okay. I forgot you'd pull that off before the end of that. Alright, I'll deal with that helm. I'll run away. Alright,
Yeah.
now I'll figure out as we come to that. But Andrus.
Yes.
As she hits you with this blinding light from a bright purple to a blinding red, kind of reaching up to your eyes to shield yourself from it almost instinctively, rubbing at it, trying to rub the stars and flashing light out of your eyes. All sound is got muted for a short bit. And as your senses come to again, your eyes start kind of blinking in reflexively to a bright light. But it's not the red-purple light you'd seen before. Almost immediately, a familiar scent seems to hit your nostrils. The smell of salt water and the ocean breeze. As your eyes adapt to a glowing sunny day, you look about you and you're standing atop the board of a ship. A very familiar ship of yours. As you seem to be catching your senses all around you, you hear the shout of crew members, shouting for the general day-to-day task of the ship, calling for rigging, calling for masts to be changed and look out. Familiar voices of those you once knew.
He looks down at his hands. Is it his human hands or tiefling?
It is human.
Places one of them down along the gunwale. Kind of takes a deep breath, looks around, seeing his family.
Yep. Perhaps feeling like a lifetime ago, this familiar scene just plays out around you as it has so many times in your voyage. You hear your captain calling out orders from up at the wheel. You hear Wendell kind of shouting from below decks, alerting the crew that supper should be ready soon, if they can get their backs into it. And you just feel the gentle tossing as the ship hits the breeze, or hits the waves.
He'll turn and look up. Those the orders, Captain. All's clear on the skies above.
Veridad looks over the wheel at you and just gives you that sly grin you've so used to seeing. He says, "All's on course as ever. See it to it that that the water ahead is kept clear. I rely on your good eyes, Barnacle."
You know they aren't that good, but thanks for the vote of confidence.
He shrugs and gives you one last little quip. He says, "That's exactly what I'm planning on. You at least keep the crew on their toes when you call out a rock. Or what you think might be one."
Aye, aye, Captain. He'll just turn and, again, hand in the gunwale, another hand shading his eyes against the sun reflecting off the water.
You can't help but feel a bit at peace. This is familiar territory. Again, adventures you had once sailed, with a crew you once remembered. But deep down, even in this time, even as Andros, you feel that churning in your stomach. You know what day this is. And even as you dread it, looking up the against the coastline ahead, gray clouds seem to be rolling in the distance. We will pop over then to Morane. You two, blinded by the light, reaching up to kind of scratch at your eyes, trying to rub out this beam of light that seems to assail you. Everything goes quiet. And slow as you regain your senses, listening around you, you hear the motion and commotion, the commotion of people. Opening your eyes, you are sitting inside a small temple. People shuffle about, preparing food, drying clothes and hanging up the remains of what the day's wash and catch were. The figures are blurry. Don't seem to recognize anyone. But it's a familiar place.
I approach anyone?
Yeah, you can. There are several members walking about, just kind of, again, carrying out the standard duties of what would be like kind of a tribal life. And looking down at yourself as you try to move, you realize your steps are a lot shorter than they were. And you a lot younger than you remember being.
I guess I'll just approach one of the figures that's closest to me and look up and see if I can get any sense of familiarity of who they are.
As you approach, the figure looks down and, again, it's hard to discern facial features. It's almost like you're looking up at a mannequin, or just almost a generic human face. And yet it smiles to you in kind, and you can't help but feel that you've seen them before, but can't quite place the name.
Does the person feel familiar to me?
In a sense, not directly familiar, but like someone you would have seen in passing. Like, if you'd lived in a small town, you saw someone often enough. May not know who they were exactly, but you know of them, and you know they belong there.
Mm.
And from behind you in a tent, you just hear a voice call out, "Ronnie dear, did you go fetch the water?"
Do I recognize the voice?
You do. Is that of your grandmother?
Oh, God. She just kind of stops for a moment, and at the sound of this voice that she hasn't heard for years, before her body just kind of takes over, these motions that feel somewhat familiar to her, and she just follows the voice's command and goes off to fetch the water.
You follow a path you'd long thought you'd forgotten, and yet as you tread, it grows more familiar each time. Grabbing the skin and leather bucket, dipping it into the communal well, pulling some water to take back. These are times you thought you may have forgotten, tried to forget. And as that thought dawns on you, you also realize you remember what day this was too.
Mm-hmm.
We will hop over to Thamor. Thamor. Despite the misplacement of your eyes, the light still seems to penetrate through your helmet, blinding you. A radiance more glorious than your own, perhaps. And as you try to shake off the light from beneath the helmet, like all of the others, everything mutes around you. And as you kind of adjust your helmet, maybe it was sitting wrong and blocking your ears or something, you suddenly feel a sensation of just weight. Looking down, kind of on you, your armor is no longer that of stuff of shadows, but traditional garb, heavy chainmail of a city guard, tabard and all. The other sensation that seems to fill you is the buzz of a town all around you. The turning of car wheels, merchants hawking their wares, people chatting and yelling up and down a street that you stand upon. It's also familiar and yet so far away. There's a strangeness about it to you, though you do remember the path. You do remember you were on guard duty that day. But you don't remember what or why. Wandering the streets, your fellow guards just give you a humble bow as they pass you by. People in the town for the most part, seem to just kind of give you curt nod. A few saluting in a gesture of appreciation as you pass. Also familiar, yet so strange. But you were on guard that day. And there's a caravan coming in that you were supposed to check out.
I guess I'll go to check out the caravan.
Moving along the crowded streets, people bustling this way and that. Like so many before you, that familiarity seems to slowly come back to you. The streets you once tread and protected. The seeming lost in a dream, perhaps, for you. As you head to one of the city gates, you notice a collection of other guards starting to collect as well as a large caravan. Travelers have been met at the gate. Your fellow guard comes over and asks for your assistance, for it's a strange bunch they had not seen before. They weren't expecting the White Order this day. We will jump to... Evian. Blinding light flashes, as with everyone before. Your senses seem to leave you for a short bit. But unlike the others, you've lived that memory once before. And instead, as the sounds seem to return to you and swirl about you, the rustling of trees seem silent, or seem to be in silence around you. Instead, you're sitting against a tree. And a very grumpy-looking elf stands across from you. As Arestamore, once again, seems to have followed you here.
She would just narrow her eyes as she looks at Arestamore. And kind of like with a heavy sigh, she says, I thought you were gone. Why did you come back?
You tell me, little girl. Conscious is lost to the void, and suddenly I'm pulled here yet again. Tell me, are you here to torment me further?
As much as I would like to, but I have a feeling that is not the chance. I guess you got your wish after all.
He scowls at that. What do you know of wishes?
Did you not want to bring back your love?
Just a flicker of shock seems to cross his features before he regains his composure and crosses his arms as he looks at you. Just no matter. I was lied to, if you would believe that. But so are all of you. I told you once before, and I've told you again. The world you live in is a lie.
Even if it is a lie, it has been told. And even it is being told now. The only way to do it, to fix anything? Well, I just gotta make a new story, shall I? Maybe one that might reunite you with the love that you have missed and craved for. But I have a feeling that you might not have a happy reunion.
Yeah, and he just seems to scowl at you. And he tries to, reach towards a sword that is not there before he just sighs dramatically and shrugs his shoulders. Suppose it was too much to ask for one act of vengeance. So what brings you into this plane, then, little girl?
Like you said, a little girl who acts for vengeance. And she looks around at the forest that she used to be so familiar with and just bows her head. But all I know is that it's gone. And whatever she's occurring, it's not going to affect me. I've already seen it before, and you've already been there. I guess you and I just have to find a way to get out now, shall we?
He scratches at his head before he just sits on the ground cross-legged, head in his hand and elbow resting against his leg. Fine. How do you propose we do that? I grow weary of our unexpected dinner parties here. And he says, as he says this, the breeze seems to pick up a bit around you before everything quiets. And we will go to Zidane.
Mm-hmm.
Zidane, again, the blinding light, the loss of sensation. But the sound you awaken to are the rattling of chains. Foul smell that you had hoped you'd forgotten. Your eyes snap awake, sitting in the prison cell. Arms bound in chains. A bit beraggled and beaten. Only the slight dripping of water somewhere in the distance, and perhaps the shuffling of chains of other prisoners nearby is all that lets you know that you have your senses here. A lone torch flickers down a hallway, but barely keeps the area lit.
I feel the warden's oath around me.
You do not. Looking down, your symbol is no longer around your neck. Instead, the padlock on your chains is awfully familiar as it had so many years ago. We will hop over to figure out what I'm doing with Alton. Alton, what are you doing in this brief moment when you see your friends vanish and see this creature look over to Absinthos and suspend him in a beam of light?
A word? Panic. I gather this is just otherworldly here, and Alton looks down at his hands and, can't see them because he's invisible still. So, is the entity in the middle of us, or where we all used to be, I suppose, active, or is it sort of in concentration to do what it's doing right now?
It seems to be, as best you can tell, in a bit of concentration. Several of its eye stalks are closed, as well as its main eye seems to be focused on Absynthos. And you can see its mouth moving, though no words seem to be leaving its lips.
Oh, weird. I'm tempted to do something extremely stupid. God, you only live once. Okay, so I would like to take out a point beam.
Oh no. Oh Jesus Christ. Oh no.
Oh man.
And approach it stealthily.
Oh. Okay, this could either go really well or really badly.
Roll me a stealth check, I guess, against this thing.
Not both.
Oh, Jesus.
I get advantage on stealth, yes?
You do get advantage,
Being
but it
invisible?
has a decently high perception.
Will do.
All right. Yeah, it does not seem to see you as it is focusing on.
Okay. I am going to chuck the plank bean in its mouth.
Oh boy. You have been trying to pull it off for some time now. Where is my... Roll me a... Just go ahead and roll me a range attack roll, I suppose.
Okay. How do I do a ring? Just a basic. Okay, so. Oh, okay. So
This could have some very catastrophic results, I suppose. Oof.
Wow, not great.
Not great. Your throw doesn't quite make it.
Is it
As you try to...
on the floor now?
There's a pit underneath her where she's floating.
Oh, I thought that was solid. Crap. Fuck.
Nope. She is floating above a wonderfully large hole. Trying to angle from behind and trying to get it in this thing's mouth without getting in front of it proves to be very difficult indeed. And despite the fact that it doesn't see you, trying your best to throw it at it just seems to kind of bounce harmlessly off of the sides of its jowl before falling into the pit below. Though it doesn't seem to register that I got hit with anything.
It was worth a shot.
So I guess we will come back if you're going to try again or not. I said
Good
I will
question.
come back to you guys if you want to try again or not, but I think you had one more bean.
You.
Did you want to try again, or are you going to do something else?
I would like to understand how I could get closer, maybe make the roll a little easier, if possible.
The problem is there's not a great way to do so, because getting in front of it would immediately dispel your magic, from what you've seen.
Mhm.
And this thing, I mean, it's got a forward-facing mouth, so there's not really any way to get closer without dispelling your own magic. Unless you were wanting to suffer the consequences of leaping in front of it to throw it on there.
No, I mean, then I would be visible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I will let you think on that then. Andrus / Barnacle.
Right, Captain.
Ahead of you, you see the skies darken, rolling at you with a fair amount of speed.
Captain. That
Yes, Barnacle.
that storms are coming.
You see him look ahead. Aye, that it is. Reckon we can outrun it?
In his head, Barnacle, Andros is thinking, no, but his voice speaks out. I think if we take the rapids along the coast, I think the current will get us to support before it hits.
He looks at you and you see him scratch at his beard a bit. And you
I
hear
know
this
the crew
Labosh.
would appreciate getting in before the storm hits. We've suffered enough of these out on this journey this time.
You hear Labosh quietly saying off his side, I don't think we can make it, Captain.
Luvash, me chum. You really want to stay out for another storm?
He looks weirdly at the clouds and looks over at you. No one really wants to, but I don't know if we'll make it. It's coming awfully fast. And Barnacle, as you're about to counterpoint, a voice from alongside you seems to startle you out of this memory of sorts. And you see Madeline, back in that human guise, standing right next to you. So this is what the famed sailor was hiding. We're not so different. You know how this all plays out, right?
Why can't I change it? Why are you showing me this?
It has already happened. Andros, or should I call you Barnacle? But you see, I wanted to torment you just a little bit. And yet, I can't help but feel connection. Maybe. Maybe we can help each other out. You see, I just want vengeance on my dear old mother for sentencing me to eternal torment in the 9 blazons of hell. And you, well, I can't turn back time. But how much do you trust your goddess?
He narrows his eyes. My goddess?
Don't you think, as she paces along the boat, the ocean seems to slow and freeze. The breeze slows to a dead halt, and the flapping of the sails and the sound of seagulls all grow silent. It mighty convenient for everything to happen to bring you here. To force upon you the mantle of a bridge. Why did you run into your father that day? Why did the ocean swell and churn unlike any other that day? Why did the one ship you got crew on, that you were accepted on, serve the goddess of the moon?
What are you getting
And she
at?
gives you the most disarming and yet wicked smile she can muster.
He just looks at her. There's his brow furrows and narrows his eyes, and then you see almost like him stare off over her shoulder in the distance with almost like a vacant look. What are you getting at?
As you look vacantly over her shoulder across, can't be sure, but and you kind of just almost rub your eyes maybe perhaps, but above the cloud line in the darkening skies, you see a crescent moon start to form. Thamor, as you approach the caravan, along with a few other of the armed guards of the city, 3 large caravan pull up, bearing hooded figures with the blazing symbol of Palos upon its chest. They stop at the gate and are kind of haggling with a few of the guards. As you walk over, one of the guards motions, "Oh, there he is. Thamor, we've been waiting for you. These folk want in, but none of their paperwork seems right."
Let me see that.
He hands you the documentation. And at first glance, it seems normal. Religious orders from the White Order, or religious documentations from the White Order, stating some form of excursion to meet with the king or the Lord, kind of on a mission of pilgrimage, looking for others to follow, and one of study. But you were never told of this. And most things seem to pass by you. You are, after all, the captain of the guard, the lead lawbringer. This should have been brought to your attention months ago before this excursion arrived. Did we... Oh. Did Discord break? No go?
No, it's yeah. I thought just saw who left and joined. Say on the papers who the orders are from. Not the orders,
There's no declaration of necessarily from, so much as it just seems to be marked with the symbol of the White Order. So the holy symbol, like the blazing sun of Halor.
Okay, I'm gonna look to the. Guessing the head of caravans here.
Mm-hmm. It's a hooded man, again wearing this blazing golden white robe with the symbol of Palor. He gives you a stern look. Evening. I believe our paperwork is in order.
I was never told of anyone of this caravan to come in today, at least from this large one.
We are a bit early. We were to arrive a week out. Plans demanded haste. We normally would have sent someone in advance to let you know. The paperwork seems official enough. Something in your gut, some memory, seems to stir within you. Something doesn't feel right about this.
You will have to wait out here while I go make sure this is fine with the royal family.
Make it quick. We tire from the long road and have an even further road ahead of us. You did not deny the holy order of the White Order their stay.
I'll be as quick as I can. And with that, he will take the papers and make haste to the capital.
Okay. As you turn and walk, you hear an explosion coming from farther in the city, followed by another and another, as fireballs and bolts of lightning seem to streak out at the other entrances of the city. The guards around you shout out in alarm and start scurrying about before you hear them too shout out in panic and pain. And turning, you notice that very same man that had talked to you, plunging a blade straight through one of the other guards. He turns to you and mutters the incantations of a spell. And with a wicked grin on his face, as he reaches a hand out towards you, you recognize the symbol of moon carved into his hand. Before everything freezes. Madeline sits next to him on the coach, with a very bemused smirk upon her face. Thamor, Thamor. You dealt me a pretty nasty blow, but it looks like you don't even remember.
Sorry, can you say that one more time? I had someone saying something.
Hmm?
Can you say that one more time? I had someone saying something.
Oh, which part?
Just what she said.
Oh. Thamor, Thamor. You dealt me a pretty nasty blow, and yet, for all of your strength, don't even remember your own history or people. Or the fact that you failed to protect them that day.
I remember it all too clearly.
Do you? Thamor of the Nameless City? Do you even remember your city's name? Where is your city now? Why is it when you look on a map, it's no longer there? What is a lawbringer? No place to bring the law. No place to call home. But perhaps she gives you that coy, wicked smile. Perhaps we can strike up a deal. I know a lot about you, Thamor. I've learned much.
I will never make deals with those as just unjust as you. You wish to punish all for the actions of one.
As you say this, she scowls at you, and the silence that initially had been around you starts picking up again. You hear the screams of the townspeople being engulfed in flames and sword. The soldier in front of you being ridden down onto another. In time, Thamor. Suffer a bit more before you come up with your response. Maybe you just never want to see your precious city again. And we will go to Moroni. As you are fetching the water and bringing it back to the tent, your grandmother sits around a cauldron, stirring what you could only remember as being a form of stew. Heavily vegetable based with a little bit of game. Its scent is something you strongly remember. A voice inside seems to chime in a bit, but you try to push down the words, as you believe to be the right action. As you bring the water to the kettle, she looks over at you. Oh, Moroni dear, you are such a big help. How is your training going?
I think I'm making progress.
It's good. I heard they finally started teaching you a little bit of the druidic magics.
She kind of reaches into her pocket and she pulls out just a flower, and she holds it in her palm, and she just concentrates on it real hard, and you just see the flower kind of close and then bloom again just by itself.
Her face lightens up at this. Oh, very, very good. Oh, you're doing better than I did at your age. And perhaps one day you'll be able to do this too. And you see her hold up her spoon. And you see her concentrate and give you a little bit of a wink as she sprouts flowers along it.
Her eyes just go really wide. She has this big grin on her face. Can you teach me how to do that?
Oh, of course, in time. When they say that you're ready. There will be plenty of time for that. But for now, I think the stew is ready, and I don't know if I want to put this spoon in again. And she chuckles as she sets down the spoon into a makeshift vase. As you settle down for stew, enjoying the taste and the hearty flavor of it, you hear the alarm go out. People shouting and running amongst the tent. Your grandma looks up, perhaps a bit worried, and then she looks over you. Oh, honey dear, go hide in the back. It's probably a drill, but we still gotta treat it like the real thing.
What's going on?
Oh, they're probably just practicing, you know. We've got to keep our people safe. Just hide under the blankets over there, and I'll go make sure everything's okay.
She just nods, and then she just goes over to where her grandmother indicated and just pulls the covers up over top of her and lays down as flat as she can and just hunkers down.
As you hear the tent flap close as your grandma leaves, you hear the alarm turn into the clash of steel, followed by the screams of pain, and things go silent. For a heartbeat, you hear nothing. And perhaps startling you from that reverie, under the blanket, Madeline is also sitting there. And you are no longer your childlike self, but huddled under there. Morani. Who knew? Self-taught, I presume.
Why are you making me go through this again?
Oh. You threw barbs at my heart. Well, what's left of it, I guess. Because I'm offering you a chance. A chance like I was given to strike back at those who ruined our lives. Would you like to see? Come on. Come on. And she gets up, starts kind of waving you over.
Despite every fiber of her being telling her not to follow, she comes up to her knees and, hesitating for a few seconds, throws off the blanket and stands and follows her.
She pushes aside the tent flap, and as you step out, a scene frozen in time is splayed out before you. Soldiers wearing heavy robes of dark red seem to be frozen in place as they ride through, spearing down members of your tribe. Again, prominently displayed seem to be the symbol of Palor upon their chest, but upon their hands, the symbol of the crescent moon.
Why are you showing me this?
Yes, we want the same thing, Marani.
Oh, I really doubt that.
We just want vengeance. That's all. Vengeance for this false, screwed up world.
You think that vengeance is in my heart? No. I want justice. Those are very different things.
She just kind of skips along this frozen battlefield. Justice, vengeance. Semantics. I know you're not a noble, dear, but in the end, they both get the same result.
Do they? All I want is justice for what was done here this day. You want to destroy the world. How is that even in the same boat?
Because it'll accomplish the same thing. I want to break this world again. Put it back to the way it should have been. The way we remember it. See, that's the problem. You don't remember. None of you. And as she says this, we're gonna hop to... let's hop to Zidane.
I'm in the cell right after being caught.
Mm-hmm. You hear heavy metal footsteps coming down the hall. as a pair of guards come looking at you in the cell, and you can hear them kind of chattering amongst themselves, laughing a bit at each other's jokes. As one opens up the door, steps in, and lands a swift kick against your chest. How do you like that, you petty snake thief?
I'm gonna try getting my breath back because I am definitely not as strong as I was today. That hurt a lot.
Your pain and attempt to try and regain your breath there just further seems to incite the guard, making him laugh a bit more. Oh, what's that? Little witty snake lost its venom. And he just kicks you again.
Do I have enough wiggle room to have the somatic component of poison spray be cast, or am I firmly bound?
Your hands are firmly bound, but you're not gagged or anything, so
Tempted. That's what young Zidane would have done.
go for it.
Present Zidane is gonna resist the urge. He's gonna at least try and see if Riel's gonna be coming this day. If this is a memory of... If this indeed is a memory, then Riel might have be coming this day, the next day. It all blends together because the cell is dark.
As you ponder this, the guard, who is still kind of kicking and jabbing at you, seems to freeze. And Madeline is sitting in the cell next to you, staring at you. You're wondering when he's going to rescue you, right?
I ask a question that you already know the answer to.
Call it a formality of my former noble self? I don't know.
But, yes.
Why do you think he would come for you? Why do you think he hasn't come sooner?
I do ask myself every so often why he came from me and not someone else inside that jail. If that's what you mean.
Well, something like that. But I also ask, why don't you think he came any sooner? He knew you were here all this time. After all, he visited the barracks every day and inquired. Never did anything till you were just nearly on the brink of death. She kind of gets a little more grim face as she stares you down. Maybe it's because you were a snake. Maybe he just didn't trust you. I don't know. But you see, we could help each other out.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And this oath you're taking, It's all selfish whim of an old man. An old man who never even wanted to save you, but felt like he had to, because fate or the goddesses told him to. How odd that he would pick you. All the promising candidates.
Well, I admit a specimen more like one of my friends. Well, you probably are very familiar with him. He smirks naturally. He was probably more of a specimen, deserving of training, but don't know if you understand. I always ask myself these things. Do you understand what it's like to be part of a race that once was and is no longer? Find worth in each other, but only through the lens of clinging to old traditions?
She gives you the most sarcastic eyebrow ways she can really give. You've talked to my brother, right? You've heard of our esteemed and wonderful family. Tradition of devilry, or what have it. It's why you and I are so alike, Sedan. I tried to break that, and look where that got me. Now I have the chance to change that. All I'm asking is, do you? And we will move.
I
Oh,
would want to try something.
sure.
I know that this is a body that's like between, it's the mind of present Zidane and then probably body of the younger one. I want to try casting suggestion. If I can find the damn thing. Because I can cast it as a
I will give
bounty.
you a bit of a hint as you try. There is no target.
Well, shit.
This is not a physical form you are talking to.
I'm trying to extend my will out towards this thing and find there's nothing there.
Yes.
Well, that's good to know. All right.
Perhaps. But I mean, you are also back in a cell from forever ago, so having her there would be kind of an oddity too.
Yeah,
Um,
information's power, and I have, even if I can't achieve that, I have learned another thing. Anyways,
Evian.
Yo.
Arestamore looks at you with a very bored look as he asks, what your plan is. Before you see him get a very confused look as he kind of looks about the trees at the blowing of the wind, stretches out an arm, and you see those void runic symbols seem to kind of glow and cross across them. And he gives a very amused like smirk before he just clutches his hand into a fist. And the sound of something fizzling. Well, well, well. He looks up at you. It seems somebody was trying to drag you in. Maybe having a skeleton or ghost in your closet has proven useful for once for you, little one. Unless you'd much rather talk to that. And you see him hold out his hand where he had kind of formed into a fist, and you see a crumpled up eyeball.
She stares at it oddly before glancing over to him. By chance, why are you carrying an eyeball?
Oh, it's not mine. Whatever pulls you in here and summarily pulled me was trying to jump on into our conversation. I don't like being interrupted, even if it's a conversation I don't enjoy anyway.
In any ways, I can actually say the same. But the question still remains, how do we get out of here? Look, I know we haven't seen eye to eye ever since, well, I don't know, you killed my mentor and burned my village. And obviously, in the end, you perished among our friends. But I want to make a promise to you. I know you want to get back to her. I can see it. It's in your eyes. I had that same look in my eyes when I wanted to have my mentor back to me. It may not be a happy reunion, but if you were to stay with me, to make a bond with me, I promise that you will be able to see her again. Save her, even, from this tragedy that has come before all of you. I just ask of you, plead with you, to help save my friends, to get this void nonsense to rekindle what needs to be done. I want a better story for all of us. I don't want this world that you say that is a lie. Even if it is a lie, it can still be changed. All I ask is your assistance. And she holds out her hand and leans on her Fey Wanderer magic, hoping to illuminate the runes so he can see how serious that she is as she gazes into his eyes.
He stares hard back into it and looks at your hand. Years ago, I made a wish. A wish betrayed me, along with the wish of what I once called friends. Don't you ever find it odd? That story played out. I'm sure you've read Grimlock's tales by now. Maybe talked to Elwyn, met Faye Lauren. Wasn't it ever strange to you that their stories were not heeded? That the world turned out the way it did?
Not every story has a happy ending. But all the same, all it takes is one little change. So I ask of you, Arestamore, do you take my hand to help me change this cruel, unworldly tragedy that has gone not only towards us, but towards you and your loved ones as well.
He looks down at his hands and kind of looks around him a little bit. And that stern look, he seems to shift before you a little bit. Instead of looking the old elf you once first encountered, he seems to get a bit younger. Looking again, the adventurer that you had met in Grimlock's tale. I never meant for things to turn out this way. I wanted to save her. So did my friends. 3 wishes were made that day. 3 wishes drew upon a power they did not understand. And in 3 we broke the world. I don't think my tale can be put back together anymore. But perhaps, he kind of gives you a stern look. Perhaps it is no longer my world anymore. Perhaps it is your world after all. And he reaches out his hand to take yours. Show me you're worth living the life we left behind.
I will. And I will make sure you be reunited with your loved one.
I hope. That is the only wish I've ever wanted. We'll hop over to Alton.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I didn't give you disadvantage, which is really the reason how I rule that, mostly because you're trying to aim for mouth you like from behind. But you know what? Here's what I'll do, Alton. If you want to use a charge on your ring, I'll let you re-roll it.
It's okay.
Hmm?
I'm
No?
just not sure what to do out here. It's like I think Absinthos is the only one that I can see. Everyone
Yeah,
else disappeared.
like I said, I had a plan for you unless you want me to bring you into that and kind of forego the invisibility rule, but unless other than that, then it's really gonna have to play out when either we get Shred back and I just have your session with him there.
So I think the notion that I had thought about in the time since the last turn that I took was this is what I think it is, and like all of the other squad are having sort of adventures of the mind. I wouldn't mind if I'm not involved in that being on a much longer time scale, meaning like everybody else is kind of having their entire adventure in the space of seconds for me. So
That's kind of how I
I
figured
don't
it was
need
gonna
to take
happen.
a turn. Yeah, I'm fine.
But I just kind of wanted to make sure there wasn't anything you like. I feel bad, kind of having you left out. Like I said, I completely forgot about the
I think
invisibility.
Elton's shitting his pants, so I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm happy to let everybody else have a cool time and like not get the mind fuck. Because that's what you're doing to people, and so Elton's okay with not doing that.
A little bit.
Wow, the bard's even avoiding the mind stuff. Wow. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
He's
Okay. So I just don't want to. I'm trying to like leave you out, but I'm also like, yeah, things are happening a lot faster for them in that regard because it is kind of almost in the span of a few seconds of what they're seeing.
Yeah, I feel like it's REM sleep, and it's hours in your head and like 7 seconds in real
Yeah,
life.
as I said, I just didn't want to have you like feel excluded. Like while I was trying to like see what you were doing in the between scenes there. Um, but I'll get back to you then. I got an idea as well. But all right, uh, Andros.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Nice. So you see that the form of that crescent moon above the roiling waters. All is still as Madeline is staring at you intently. She extends her hand out to you. You say, vengeance upon a cruel and wicked god.
No, you don't even seem to understand. I don't want vengeance. I want them to get off their fucking asses and do something.
She scowls at that. Do something. The
Do you
only
really
things they
think this is
do
about
are torment and
vengeance?
play. Do you see? With all of you, we could end the reign of these gods. We could take that power for ourselves if need be. We just have a few loose ends to tie up first. For me, it's a family visit, and you, it's just maybe a delightful talk with a so-called moon goddess.
And what, pray tell, would I do being a god? I didn't want to be here in the first place. I've had 2 lives taken from me. I just want to be done. But I can't. I'm sorry whatever happened to you did. It's fucked up. And if we want to deal with your mother, that's great. I don't mind murdering a bitch. But that's one person. There's a whole lot more people out there that don't deserve that. I've done enough. And I want to put things right. I don't want to be a god. Fuck, I don't need that responsibility. I'd screw it all up more. I don't trust the gods, but as much as I hate to say it, they've got a purpose. I want nothing to do with it.
Such as killing your friends, steering your ships into the rock. Some purpose.
I made a mistake.
She planned it. All this time you blamed the sea, and yet it was the moon controlling. You're just a plaything.
Crosses his arms. What proof do you have?
She just waves her arm up. The storm, the sea, everything. Everything you've come to know. Why you met your father that night. She put the image in her head. A holy vision from Palos. Except given from the moon. You know your father couldn't ignore that. Why else would he have beaten you? Why else would you have set sail that night, How else did your mother come across such a magical artifact? How else did you come into the ploy of those that serve her directly? This world, Enderos, is a mistake. It was supposed to be broken.
See his eyes fall and staring at the deck, like almost searching, darting back and forth.
She just grins and again walks towards you with a hand like raised out to you. So you don't have to be a god. But that shouldn't stop you from wanting to upseat them. No one else should suffer the whims of a bored and apathetic being. You can take vengeance, justice, retribution, whatever you want to call it.
Put a hand to his head, two fists on the ends of his horns.
As you're doing so, you kind of bang yourself in the head a little bit. As one arm is still stone. And as you touch your head with that stone arm, you hear a very loud voice yelling in your head. Boy! What are you doing?
Fuck, Stony! What's going on?
Lad, you are a bloody fucking idiot! You called me the stone for brains.
What's going on? Help me!
Lad, you need to wake up. Can't do much now, I'm still recovering, but wherever you are.
Can you reach her? Umbre.
Hmm?
He says, can you reach her? Umberly. I haven't been able to reach her since we came down here.
I'll try. It's... My influence down here is diminishing. It's been unstable all these years I've been in control. I still got the accent of a dwarf, but... Give me some time. I don't... My years with the others have never been kind. But they wouldn't do that to you, lad. They have fickle designs, sure. They wouldn't just purposely try to toy with you. Have some faith. I hope. The thing in front of you is... It's an abomination. I've held it in prison for years. Centuries. As he's saying this in your head and you're kind of having this conflict, Madeline is just kind of slowly is retracting her hand and glaring at you. More whims of the gods, it seems.
Is there like anything around on the ship near me? Like, is there like an oil lamp or any sort of anything on the deck here?
Yeah, I mean, there's extra, like, rigging on the deck, like spools of rope and all that. There's a few oil lanterns strung up, though they're not lit, as it was daytime shortly before the oncoming onset of the storm. But there's that and a few other various small things like buckets and such like that for cleaning the deck, kind of tied down to the sides of the boat.
Kind of stands back up and looks at her. You're a liar. Get out of my head.
Just scowls. I am no liar, boy. What I say is true, even if you don't believe me. I offered you a chance. Don't come crying to me when you find out your precious moon goddess and that blockhead of an Earthman turn on you in the end. They all do.
Stands up and kind of backs up against the gun wall. At least I had a choice then. What do you choose? You're just in it for the destruction. You want to destroy everything. You don't want to take control. Like you said first, this is about vengeance. Vengeance doesn't take control. It just destroys.
First, have to break a few things to put them back together correctly.
Fuck
Like-
off. And he grabs one of the unlit oil lanterns and throws it to the deck, and it just shatters in a spray of glass.
Yeah. That in a second then, and we'll hop to Morane. Madeline looks to you again. Well, you see the destruction that these foolish players caused. Be that a justice or vengeance. Do you want to see your family avenged?
You really think that you need to ask that question? I've thought about my family being avenged every day of my life. But that does not mean that I'm prepared to take the rest of the world down with me to do it. That's the difference between you and me. I am sorry for what happened to you. But taking down the world just because of what your mother put you through? No, that is not what I want. I want to see the ones that destroyed my family brought to justice. I have no desire or intention to burn the rest of the world in order to make that happen.
Oh, but see, that's where you're gonna run into that problem. The world itself is what's causing all of this. My mother is but one step. These people, cultists, fanatics, are just another part of it. This world needs to be broken again. It wasn't put back together correctly the first time, and so we'll break it until it is right.
You don't fix things by breaking them further. That's not how this works.
Ask your friend. He's a result of all of it after all.
This world is full of shitty people and shitty things. I am not going to deny that. But I have also come to learn in these last few months that there is goodness and things that I want to be surrounded with. People that I care about. I don't want them to be destroyed. I don't want to destroy this world just knowing that the ones that I want dead will also go up in flames. Because that also means that everything that I have come to care about and love will also go up with them. Seeing all of this again, and thank you for that, by the way, this is not something that I wanted to experience again. But if this was your way of trying to convince me to do whatever kind of freaky shit you want to do with this world, then you have utterly failed. This is not going to convince me. Because whatever shit I have gone through in my life, whatever shit is going on in the world right now, the way that you are insisting that it is done is not worth it to me. I would rather go through this again 1,000,000 times rather than follow your little scheme.
He's just like arranged. Up to Thamor.
Oh,
As the sound of fighting and clashing of swords seems to spread out further and further among you, you hear what could only be described as kind of cracking. And looking to the outer edges of the city, you see a ring of these hooded figures chanting as a circle of magic seems to spring up surrounding the city. And Madeline, skipping alongside, just kind of watching, looks over to you. Bet you don't remember this part.
why are you showing me this?
Because I want to help you, Thamor. I want to help you find your lost city. You don't even know where to look, do you? You're not even sure what it was lost to. You woke up alone, remembering bits and pieces of a family you once had, a kingdom you once served. But poof, gone. I can help you bring it back, Thamor.
I do not need your assistance for that.
Really? You don't even remember its name? You don't remember where it was? Thamor, you even know how old you are?
Seymour grabs his head and just shakes it.
It's kind of funny, you know so many tactics, so many things, but yet you can't remember a city that seemed to disappear with time itself. And yet, she kind of like looks at you, kind of stares, looking through your memories a little bit. Bits and pieces you seem to see, but don't know why. Isn't it funny, Thamor? Of all your friends who got pulled into these other fantastical places, your link is that of Shadow. Pretty close to the Void, if you ask me.
Shadow holds no power over me. Twice it has attempted to hold me down, and twice it has failed.
Oh, Thamor, Thamor, Thamor. You are a man lost in time, Joe. I can help you, Thamor. She extends out her hand. Together, I can help you find these hooded figures that once destroyed your precious town, sent it adrift amongst the currents. Exact vengeance on them, families, and the rest of the broken world that forgot you and your home ever existed. And then you can go back, fending your people, a life of fishing. That sound good, Thamor? You muted.
Sorry.
Go to the next screen. Oh, okay. All good. Okay, then I will come back to you in a second. Quickly hop to... Go to Zidane. She's
Alright.
sitting next to you in that cell. What do you say? She kind of reaches out her hand, and you see, almost in a flick, she has a key in her hand. The key that became part of your symbol later, she holds. Shall I help you this time? You don't need the wardens or their oaths, Sedan. They're nothing more than this prison that you sit in. That Rael, for some reason, decided to pick you. You think he wanted to, Sedan? If he did, why didn't he come earlier for you? He knew it was happening to you down.
He cocks his head, looks down at the key. Tell me, Madeline or not Madeline, would you free others in the same way? Would you give them the chance to release their bonds?
Anyone I found willing to help me break this world and put it back together anew? Of course. I have just one small task to accomplish in exacting vengeance upon my wonderful mother, dearest. And then I'm gonna break this wretched world, Zidane. Put it back together the way it was. Before those foolish ones broke it in the first place.
Hmm. And I suppose that means everything, everyone. Does that include you as well? Everything is just rolled up and tossed into the basket with the rest of the laundry washed.
She chuckles. I suppose that's one way to look at it, yes. I fancy myself no better. Whatever the world is supposed to be before it was broken, I will submit myself to. Though, if I'm correct, it will be a much better world. What do you say, Zidane? A world that you were never supposed to be imprisoned in the first place. A world where your future wasn't on the whim of an old priest who had to come save you.
Wasn't for an old priest that decided to save a wretched thing like me, I never would have known a better way. Neither would I have known that I can help set others on the same path. And when it comes to be my day that I need to find some poor wretch that, for whatever reason, I decide to choose them and pass on my mantle to them, I will do so as well. But most importantly, I would not give up this path, nor my oath, because of the people that I've met. Maybe even one that, well, one that I think that your kind would call love. It's a very strange concept to me, though.
He just gives a bit of a kind of a sarcastic chuckle at that. Oh, yes, love. You know the thing that families do for each other is they send them into the 9 planes of hell. Yeah, I'm familiar with that wonderful concept, and no, can't say I have much fancy for it. Don't worry.
I could extend the same sense of, well, not familial, but I don't think there's no hope for you if you decided to seek out a different path.
She ponders for a minute. Seems to give you kind of a pouting look. Oh, would you help me then, Zidane? Would you help me redeem my ways if I say I wanted to change? I only seek, what was it? Fair justice for what was done to me. That can't be too much to ask, right?
What you tell me of your mother and the things that she deals with, then no, I would not hesitate to strike her down, especially since she robbed a child of her innocence.
Then why don't you help me, Sedan? As she holds out her hand again.
Because of the price that comes afterwards. You are not just asking for justice, you are asking for a change encompassing all of life. I would set the record right as it pertains to you, but I don't believe that I would have the license to change more than that. And neither do you, for all the injustice that this has visited upon you.
Don't understand, Sedan. What I want is a personal vendetta, sure. But it's my act before I fix the world as part of my promise. My grievances with my family aside, I will have that done as personal satisfaction. Then I will break the world to rebuild it. For myself, for the others inside. Put it back to the way it was. Back to the way it was. Continual chorus in my head. I will do right today. We just have different viewpoints, maybe. Except you don't have all the facts. Which is why I offered to you to help you as much as you be helping me. This world is wrong, Sedan. And I plan to fix it after a little bit of a selfish pleasure.
How about this? I'll make my decision after I get to hear from what your brother has to say.
He just kind of snarls a little bit at that. We'll see about that. And we will hop to Evian,
Mm-hmm.
after kind of, making this pact here, few traces of these void symbols, runes seem to climb your arm a bit before fading. And he looks up to you and says, I sense your friends are here too. All pulled into the same delusions that this thing is trying to impart upon them. Perhaps it's time you learn a bit more. And he reaches out his hand, grabs at the open air, and almost like peeling wallpaper seems to strip it away. And through this hole, you see the deck of a ship. Andros smashing a lantern in front of Madeline. Andros, you hear the tear behind you, and turn to see, probably very surprisingly, a Restamore sitting in an open field along with Evian. And a very shocked Madeline in front of you now.
What? Does the Spider-Man meme?
You don't tend to be here all times. Would you, Andros? She reaches out for you.
Fuck, yeah, let's go. And he reaches up and takes her hand and flips a bird to Madeline before...
You will regret this, you puppet of the moon! You just... As everything kind of seems to fade and vanish, crackling around you as you step through to where Evian is. The ship fades, but not before she plays her last bit upon you, and you hear the ship crash. The wrecking of wood against stone and the screams of your fallen friends as the plane closes behind you.
Andros, his hands cover over his ears and he just tucks his head in.
Astro turns and again reaches out, his arm glowing, ripping away another part of the scene before you. And you see a small tribal-looking village, bodies strewn about. Morani looking very defiantly at a very cross-looking Madeline. And Morani, out of the battlefield, again, you see now a odd portal tear, it seems, leading into an open plains with Andros, Evian, and again, shockingly, a Restamore.
She kind of does a double take at seeing Arestamore, but seeing Evian and Andros standing there as well, she kind of just files that away in the back of her mind for a moment before turning back to Madeline and just smirking at her and saying, well, this has been fun, but I think I'm going to go and make sure that you don't fuck things up. And she just steps through the portal.
You hear her just screech out at you. As you hear, she resumes the battlefield around you as you step through. You hear the sounds that you remember as a kid of your tribe dying around you. You try as you hid under the blankets before it closes shut. He once again reaches for... Oops, sorry.
I was about to say, glad to have you, Morani.
I trust that you two have had as much fun as I have.
We can say that. She looks over to Restamore.
He nods, reaches forward, and again peels back a layer. You see a town that seems to be shifting and fading, blending in and out of the very fabric around it, turning into a very shadowy look. Thamor stands tall amidst it, clutching at his head as he looks about, and Madeline with an arm open towards him.
Thamor, look at me.
Thamor looks up in surprise at hearing a friendly voice and looks over at the voice.
Yep. You see, as I've described before, amidst this dark, shadowy falling out of your village, you see an open hole leading to a green field with Andaros, Evian, and Morani, and Arestamore reaching out to you.
I made a promise with you, Thamor. And I'm not gonna let go of that promise. And she holds out his hand to him.
Thamor reaches out and grabs a hand, but is very intently staring at Aristamore.
Don't worry about it. He's with me.
You'll have to explain that when we're not almost dead.
In due time. But first, let's get back to the other.
As you step through Thamor, Madeline is laughing behind you. Forever lost, Thamor. Forever lost. And you hear the sound of crunching and cracking as everything seems to just fall away behind you. A sound that you so distinctly remember, though had forgotten. As the portal closes behind you. Again, once more, he reaches forward. Another portal he rips open to a jail cell. A beaten and bruised Zidane laying down upon it. Madeline sitting next to him. The bonds are no longer there, Zidane.
Zidane?
Room service. It's not like the usual sanctuary, but it's actually a little bit comfortable once you get used to the grime. He's smiling brightly as he's looking over at Morani.
She steps forward toward where the portal is and just reaches her hand out towards Zidane.
Stands and dusts his hands off on his pants and looks down to Madeline. And he stretches his hand out. There is no reason for you not to cut yourself away from this. Step back, reflect, and choose a different path. I've done it. And
Path was made, Zidane. I too made a wish. And she grabs your hand as you're reaching towards her, and you just feel this shocking pain just going up your arm. Go ahead and roll me a strength or reflex saving throw.
oh boy, do I get the benefit of the oath?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
I throw a cosmic omen at him too.
I would say it's not, unless you can do it as like, an instant kind of thing, like a reaction.
It is a
happening.
reaction.
Fine.
Oh, then sure.
Strength? Or... yeah,
Strength or... So it would be, like athletics or a reflex.
Oh, well, never mind. Shit. The power of love.
Never mind. She grabs at your arm and you feel this... She's trying to like drain your energy, basically. Drain your life forces. You feel this cold, necrotic touch pulling you in. And just giving her this smirk, you just surge back with a burst of warden energy. And she flies back, clutching at her hand as she's flickering and fading, scowling at you. He never picked you out of reason. No one would have picked you. As almost like the sound of an iron door closing, plane there shuts.
Am I able to actually get off an action ability on her?
What are you thinking?
Divine sense.
You're hilarious. No, I want to see if I can do channel divinity.
Ooh.
And
Again, there's not really a target.
damn, that's right.
Like, she's exerting a spell through your conscious is what she was
Yeah,
basically like. She was
yeah.
basically mind draining you, but there's no target there to hit back unless you're trying to like just affect the space. If that makes sense.
Never mind. I will be happy in
She's basically psychically attacking
resisting.
you. So
Yeah, I will be happy in that I have resisted this other attack with an attack.
just beholder things. All right. As he's in here, as you're all in here, Restmore kind of looks amongst the group. He
Oh.
turns and pulls away. Alton, you see a small little hole appear near you as you are invisible, and you
What?
see your your friends looking about, and you see
Wait,
Restamore curiously
hole,
looking
what?
about. A hole, like literally just a floating like portal.
Uh-huh.
A tear in the fabric of reality.
Where is this hole?
It is right next to you, but though the opener doesn't seem to see you, he's looking about curiously. I sense he was near here. And you
Back
see
away slowly.
Restamore. You see Restamore, Evian, Zidane, Marani, Andros all on this plane.
Alton, it's okay.
You don't see me. What are you talking to?
Oh shit! Never mind. I keep forgetting
No
you're
one
fucking invisible,
sees him.
dude.
It's just he kind of opened a portal. It's like I could have sworn I sensed him here.
Do we have our things back?
Yes.
Zidane's gonna stride forward out of the hole and twirl his halberd forward.
Well, it's not big enough to go through it.
Oh, damn
it's
it.
a small hole where he's looking through.
Gonna have the whole badass entrance, but no, it's too small. Dagnabbit. Scratch that.
Your hips
Okay,
are
well.
just too thick. You can't get through.
If you want to shy away, that is fine. He will close the hole up again.
I mean, I can't really go through it, so. Were you expecting an action from Alton? I'm confused.
Up to you. I didn't know if you were going to interact at all or try to go through.
Well, how big is the breach?
It's small at first because he's looking for you.
Who is... So,
Oh.
I'm going to confess here. I'm going to confess. I haven't really been listening to almost everything that's been going on. Because I'm recording it. I will listen to it later. But also, Alton has no idea what any of you have been talking about. So when you say, are you going to do anything? All he sees is a little hole open up and there's some people inside. So
Fair enough. I mean, like I said, it may come down to whenever we get Shred back, Alton, I may have to have kind of a different session with you two then. Specifically, like during this time period. Okay. Sorry, like I said, fortunate the way I played it out, but so in this other plane then Arrestamore, as you all are in this grassy plane with Evian and Arrestamore, he sighs and kind of just looks around at each of you. Well, I assure you I don't mean any further harm to any of you.
Pardon me if we don't take that at face value. I mean, you were trying to kill us not that long ago.
Correct.
Let's just say a promise has been made, and he's on his best behavior.
Aha. If you say
It's
so.
time I give you a little more of an answer. As he kind of looks about each of you, You read or saw, at least, Grimlock's tales. Yes.
We've experienced some of them.
Could say that we had front row seats.
Saw what you saw.
Yes. Though everyone else who reads that calls it a fairy tale, written by a renowned author. The events in there did take place, but no one would believe it. Did any of you ever stop to think why Lorne never succeeded in convincing his people that he did not betray, or even of the upcoming apocalypse of sorts?
Witches have an interesting way of interacting with each other, especially if they go contrary to each other's goals.
He nods at you. Yes. I don't know the details of how, or proclaim of how they all work. But when Eladin enacted his spell, and nearly tore that place asunder, I too made a wish. I only wished to save her. Grimlock made a wish. Perhaps he will tell you the detail. Knowing him, it was something story-like, more than likely. And I am told that he kind of catches himself a bit. I am told that Shara also made a wish then. Though perhaps before any of us did. The world was broken that day. And he looks amongst you and sighs. And the one that might understand is being probably held the most captive right now by his sister. The world was broken to be ended that time on the folly of 3 who made wishes to try and save it. 3 who exerted their power, forces beyond their control to rebuild it, left behind a hole far larger than anything could fill. I was told I could fix it, though. That I could rebuild the world in which I could see her again.
Told by
I was
who?
a fool for believing that. What is gone can't be brought back. At least not how it was.
Right.
This creature, Madeline, I think. She is the brother of your companion. Or sister of your companion, right? Whoops.
Oh,
Whoops. Sister of your companion, correct?
That is
apparently.
correct.
But she's not alone. The other voices. Dwarvish by the sound of it. Angry at being forgotten, perhaps. Being removed in the first place. And the world broke and was rebuilt. It wasn't built back properly. Mistake I tried to fix so I'd see her. A mistake, perhaps. Grimlock wished for a different ending, without thought of how that would end. Shara only wish I knew what she had wished for. Bring this about. What was broken cannot be brought back. I know this now. You all can only move forward and not make the mistake that my once friends and I made so many years ago. Or at least that's the hope, I suppose. I don't have a whole lot of power left here. Don't know what I am anymore. Felt lost. But perhaps because I was not once fully of the void, that maybe I can't fully go to it. After all, I still remember my name and everything else. So I ask you all, are you ready to push on?
Deandros get up from the grass where he was sitting, kind of slumped over. Well, it's the only way to go. You certainly showed us how, looking back, it's how fucking thing's broken.
She probably wasn't fully wrong either. But she only knows broken truths as well. There may be a grain of truth in the things she said. Whether they matter or not in this instant is of no concern. She thinks she can fix the world like I thought, and that is the folly of such power. She will seek to break the world like I once did, and put it back together.
Well, perhaps as we go out there to meet her, you can be sitting in the rafters, waiting to perhaps interrupt what she tries to do. Maybe then we can actually reach in and pull this Madeline out, like you have been.
Perhaps. But it may not be up to me. Probably the only one who has the best chance. Be her brother. Whatever semblance of her is left. Whether reason even remains. No. Her will is strong, and she was granted a chance at it. I can feel her even now. And as he says this, you notice that the space around you, this plains, is growing a bit smaller. The edges of it kind of fading away. Guess maybe I should thank her for the chance to see you all again. I don't think she intended to bring me along for the ride.
If you're able to escape this little space of yours, go down beneath the castle and hide with Ellie.
appreciate the sentiment, but it seems I have a new home now. As he looks over at Evian. I never thought I'd be making a pact on behalf of anyone. Guess we'll see where this leads.
What?
I'm sorry. A pact? She just looks at Evian really incredulously.
Vengeance is never the answer. And even though he is a broken man, he just wants to be reunited with who he loves. And I get that. So, I know we all have our own problems. And yes, it has been quite a fuckery to go through all of them. But in the end, if we all have each other, we can get through this. We can fight together to change. And change this whole. Well, this, as you say, this weird lie. But as all stories say, only it takes one person, or maybe a few, to change an unhappy ending to a better one.
You're sounding a bit too much like Grimlock, my dear. He was the one who loved his stories. And you see as he kind of, he's trying, like, he's saying this with a very, like, he sounds annoyed, but at the same time he's got a very, like, he's hiding a grin.
She just smirks on her own. Let's just say that some people have rubbed off on me. And she'll turn towards the others. Right. Are you ready to all get some ass kickery going on here?
Kick or be kicked, although I have a feeling that Riel might want me to give this to you, Arestamor. He's gonna walk up to Arestamor and give him a dead arm punch.
He grabs his arm, like, kind of, and you just hear him go, right. Well.
And there, proof you're still alive.
Young Sud, always headstrong, wasn't he? Though he... Not so young anymore. He looks over at you, he's like, I never really knew what he saw in you initially. He was always good with his gun.
What was that?
Ooh, I don't know.
The simulation has ended. You all wake up in a in an abandoned facility.
Oh dear.
Oh, you're finally awake.
Wait, things happening?
no.
Wait, what's going on?
You're in a cart.
There
And
was
there's
a
a guy
cow.
saying, you're in a cart, and, and an odd Northman dressed in furs looks you over.
It
That
was me.
sounded super like a old CRT TV, like
Yeah.
you know, like the channel's Frisno. I don't know.
Yeah, that was me. My computer just randomly crashed on me, and I did switched over to my phone for a minute, and that was me switching back once everything booted back up.
Oh, good.
So Riel has a good gut feeling. I was gonna say something, but then zzz. Or, well, he just wanted to beat a young man with a stick a lot. Either way, I think I'm better for it. Hopefully I can pass whatever he saw in me on to someone else one day.
Such is the way of things with you, words. That as it may. I'm sure you'll do improv. If he hasn't told you as much already.
Xenon smiles.
Well, we go out there arms blazing. There's one more you need to save. As he reaches behind, and you see him with a bit of difficulty even. He seems to grab, and then you realize he's kind of straining a bit and uses both arms to try and rip a hole. As he does so, finally rips away, and you see the interior of a large, very well decorated mansion. She tried her grip on you all. She has the most strength. May need all the help you can get.
So we just ripped open a hole to his mansion?
Well, to a mansion that
Oh.
at least Evian recognizes somewhat.
Somewhat. She's just like, ew. Right. And she'll just go towards the end, peer through, trying to find a familiar face that she has slowly have come to recognize and hold close.
Portal beyond is strangely empty. It's a large, open foyer.
Hmm.
Quiet, flickering and crackling of candles on the walls can be heard. It's deeper within, I imagine. We cannot us to him.
She just nods and she steps through the portal.
He kind of looks at the rest of you, kind of motioning. Cannot hold this space for much longer.
You know, you're still a dick.
But he's my dick. She calls back.
So the reveal, like back in, really early on, I guess, was completely true.
I am just sitting here 5 feet away from Key, just shaking my head.
You see Andros purse his, like fold his lips in on each other to just... Boy, I'll let that one just... No, I got nothing. Don't fuck us over again. And he steps through the portal. Come on, you guys. We got one more fucker to save.
What is the marching? Are we just kind of in a throng?
We can determine the marching order a bit later, because, in case you haven't figured out, this is where I have to pretty much end it, in a sense, because this is where we'll pick up with,
Sure,
Gotta
yeah.
Save us an applesauce.
I just want to get one more thing edgewise.
Sure.
Zidane is going to come up beside Marani. Give her a little peck on the cheek.
Oh.
Grab his halberd, and he's gonna go in second or first.
Second. Andros is already through.
It'd be third then, because Evian went in first.
Yeah. Numbers.
She kind of stares a little stunned after Zidane for a second, a little bit of pink coming to her cheeks before she finally just shakes her head and just a little grin on her face before following him through the portal.
See Andros raise an eyebrow as Zidane kind of passes by him. He's like, "Really? Right now?"
I want to say that Marani hears that as she steps through the portal. She just looks at him and says, "Fuck off, Andros."
What, do you feel left out?
Family?
Shrugs.
Eyeballs Aristamar as he goes through the portal.
He stares at you, but he does definitely give you kind of like a respectful kind of like head bow as you go by, because you kind of wrecked his shit the last time. So but yeah, that's where we'll probably have to pick up when we pick our friend Applesauce back up. Alton, I need to figure out a way to get you into this, because you have sufficiently found a way to like wiggle out of that.
I mean, I wasn't anticipating any of this. I was just pointing out that I was invisible.
Yeah, I really didn't want to overrule it and just say, "Oh yeah, well nope, you're in. Haha, screw you." So I did forget about the invisibility. To be completely honest, I completely forgot you did that.
It's okay. It's actually hilarious to think that this is all happening, and then poor Alton is like, "Oh my god, I'm out here with the beholder. It's doing some freaky shit. I'm all alone.
Yeah.
I tried using a beam.
100%.
That didn't work out too well."
Yeah, for sure.
I just kind of, I mean, it fits. It does fit amusingly and somewhat thematically in that regard. I just kind of feel bad, kind of having you not involved in that, not by choice. Just, I without being just a railroader of like, oh nope, you're forcibly in this. Particularly traumatizing attempt.
Happy to
That's
forego
okay.
the trauma.
We'll just do what we did earlier. We all protrude out of his chest.
The flower.
What?
Remember when Evian
Evian
disappeared?
was a flower on Thamor's chest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Really old throwback.
Back when when vengeance was Evian's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 days
now
ago.
vengeance is apparently her dick. So
Thanks, love.
love you.
No wonder Thunderhands was so impressed.
Thunder handed the vengeance right out of her.
That's what happened to her vengeance.
Oh God!
You found out.
Why?
Darn it.
Couple dwarven romps in a bed, and now she just wants to save everybody.
That's all she needed.
Just one good.
It was a couple
One good play.
years of pent up frustration.
More like 40.
Okay.
40.
Yeah,
It had been that long? Good lord. No wonder.
This is the true lore. I almost said the deep lore, but that would have been worse.
No.
Oh, the deep lore is for the $20 and up tier on Patreon.
I'm just going back to the flashbacks from when was it, like when Andrew or when Asenthal's brought her back, and there was I don't remember how it came about, but like the drop of that she was a guy throughout that point.
Oh yes. Yup. Yeah, back when she was being brought to meet Mother or whatever it was.
Yep.
Hi, Mom. This is girl I've known for a week, and I want to marry her. Wait, what?
Yeah. I can't remember what was the line that like
I think
made.
I'm gonna cut the recording there. This is pretty good. Stop, right?
Bye, street.